Today, unfortunately, I stand before you much less sanguine about the possibilities of human beings living on other planets, at least the ones in our local neighborhood. So the answer, can we live on other planets, depends in large part how you define live, on, and planets. Now this morning, I'm going to make several references to the elephant in the room. Now, the elephant in the room is really a good idiom to describe the human tendency to not acknowledge the most obvious thing around. It's actually a form of psychological denial. It's usually a huge thing people should be addressing, but actually choose not to. Everybody's talking about returning to the moon. In this case, the elephant in the room represents the biomedical realities and constraints of long-duration spaceflight. Now, please understand, I'm talking about long-duration spaceflight. You can do all the sortie missions you want, and unless you're really unlucky, we'll cover that scenario a little later, you should be just fine. But once you go beyond low Earth orbit and go beyond 6 months, you are in a whole other paradigm. And unless we get a handle on the biomedical realities and constraints for long-duration flight, we are entering what I refer to metaphorically as the scurvy phase of space exploration. So before we directly address the elephant in the room, let's develop some context so you can better interpret my remarks. Next slide. We now have a considerable body of evidence. We have flown 500 people in over 260 missions and have a cumulative experience of over 85 person-years of flight experience. This is year 48 of human spaceflight. It's time, I think, to clearly and dispassionately face the somewhat cold realities that experience has revealed and consider where the evidence is taking us, even if the implications clash with our long-cherished, yet perhaps ultimately unsustainable belief systems. Now, please don't shoot the messenger. My comments are offered in a constructive spirit. I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade, and I have the goal of optimizing all human space activities. Now let me do a warning and a disclaimer. First, the warning. Some of my remarks this morning are going to border on heresy for some of you. I assure you I am one of the faithful, okay? The vast majority of my professional career has been devoted to human spaceflight. I believe the eventual success of our species depends in large part on our ability to get off the planet in numbers large enough to create self-sustaining, self-replicating, and thriving communities in space.